Welcome to Good News, Bad News, where we bring you the news that you should have heard of, but you probably didn't. I'm your host for this session, Isaac the Cool Guy Drosha. And we've also got Jai. Say hello, Jai.
Hello, Jai.
And the beautiful and intellectually powerful Davina.
Oh, interesting. Thank you.
And we're going to kick it off with Davina bringing us some news. Is it good or bad, Davina?
I would say that I haven't made my mind up, but it's bad. It's bad news. It's bad news for tennis fans. For Novak Djokovic. Yeah, he got disqualified from the US Open for hitting a lineswoman in the throat with his tennis ball. But I looked at the video, because it sounds like like the way people described it sounded like he swatted away the ball in kind of like anger. But I didn't think it was so bad. He looked quite like apologetic, like he didn't do that.
I think there's only one way to really solve this, and we're going to have to run a replay test. So I'm going to get a racket and smash a tennis ball into your throat, and then you tell me if it's okay or not.
I hear that maybe you're on the side of the lineswoman. I don't know.
I don't think he was angry at the lineswoman. I think he was angry at the game, and he was just taking it out, you know?
And she just happened to be in the way.
She just happened to be in the way. Which I think is something that, as like a professional athlete, you've kind of got to temper down, you know? You see a lot of people do it, but
That's what I like a bit of on the courts, a little bit of
spice.
Imagine if this was in other sports. I was just thinking, what if this happened in bowling and the guy ah, darn it! And they hit someone in the face with
It's sword fighting, you're fencing, you chop off someone's head.
Pool, someone just takes the cue and wicks it out into the audience and hits someone in the face. Hockey players take off their skates. Ah, sure. Well, in other news, let's have a piece of some tasty good news.
Tasty good news.
The cast of The Princess Bride are going to reunite for a reading of the script on September 13th. You can tune in to hear them read the script. But a thought just occurred to me just now. What are they going to do about Andre the Giant's part?
Did he say much?
Hello, lady.
There you go. I think you got a job, Isaac. Quickly, call him.
Is he dead?
Oh, he's just busy.
He's been dead for like 20 years.
Oh.
But still dead. Yeah.
Okay.
Giants don't live long, you know?
Are you going to be watching this?
No. But it's good news.
It's cool. There's a lot of people doing this, right? There was like a reunion of the first episode of Dawson's Creek or whatever.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crap of people getting together and trying to put stuff online.
Oh, Jesus. New shows popping up left and right.
Well, Jai, perhaps you've got some better news then.
Well, my news is interesting, not necessarily better. You know, the moon used to be white, right? That big cheesy ball in the sky. Apparently, we're rusting it.
Oh,
it's getting rusty. I know. 2020 couldn't get any worse. The moon's turning red. Yeah.
How?
Interesting, because, you know, rust is iron oxide, right?
Oh.
Which is made from iron and oxygen. And the moon isn't really supposed to have any oxygen. So what they think is happening is that the Earth's oxygen is kind of leaking and just kind of settling on the poles of the moon. So good job, humanity.
But what if that means that the moon starts to develop an atmosphere?
Yeah, it might.
And then we could live there.
Well, I don't know. Iron oxide is carcinogenic, so wouldn't be a good life.
I mean, in some time. But imagine, if you will, what if the moon became the prime real estate of Earth? Like all the wealthiest people live on the moon.
Did you see this week, another piece of news, NASA was looking for private companies to start mining the moon. So that sounds like a capitalist dream.
I don't think this is in the original story by H.G. Wells, but in the movie with, I can't think of his name, very famous actor.
Ah, yes, Andre the Giant.
No, from like maybe 20 years ago. I'm
Humphrey
ballparking.
Bogart.
Okay, helping too much. The the time machine,
Ah, yes.
and
Guy
what-
Pearce.
yes, Guy Pearce. Thank you, helping just the right amount.
Yes.
The moon is splits in half. It destabilizes, which of course causes havoc on the Earth, natural disasters, because they were mining it.
Oh.
So when he's going through time, he stops in like 2016 or whatever, and he's like, "Wow, amazing!" And then he goes forward like 10 years, and there's like earthquakes and fire, and he's like, "What happened?" And you look up at the moon, and it's cracked in half because they
Yeah.
were mining it. So yeah, let's mine the moon. Good idea.
But he also zoomed ahead like another 200,000 years, and it was fine.
Oh well, there was no civilization, and there was zombie people who live underground. But yeah,
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. But they were fine.
Why didn't they just all go away? These people that want to do things like mine the moon, like leave it just happen, just stay at home and
Yeah.
like live your life like a normal person.
This makes me want to write a movie or a play where there's like a collective of people who are the government, and there's a character like you, Davina, who always is, why don't they just stop what they're doing? They should just go away.
And somehow she gets elected to president of the world,
Oh,
and
boy.
it grinds to a halt.
I'm so naive and gullible. I'd be a terrible president. I'd be like, oh, okay, you want to. Yeah. I'd be convinced that it'd be a good idea. It sounds like a terrible idea, though.
Yeah.
And speaking of terrible or good ideas, Davina, do you have a terrible or good idea you'd like to share?
Well, I've decided that my tennis story was bad news. This is good news. A lady in where's she from? Oh yes, don't know. She
Papua New Guinea.
should really read a little bit more. She died of cancer, and she's become the first woman to complete a grueling sea-to-summit triathlon over 330 miles in 5 days. And there's a picture of her like doing this in the sea, which probably means she's like, I don't know, wants a cigar. That's terrible. It's not even a joke. She did have cramping and hallucinations, but she pushed on. But yeah, she had endometriosis and cervical cancer, and
Wow.
now she's doing this, and that's freaking awesome. Yeah, so that's great news.
Yeah, where was the run? Summit to sea to summit?
French Alps, so I'm assuming France. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from the Mediterranean, I guess, all the way up to the top of the mountain.
Mont Blanc,
Mont Blanc.
where the pens are made.
Mont Blanc. Yeah.
You- They should really name that mountain one of these days.
What?
Ah, cigar pens. Okay, well, I've got a bad news to counter your good news. And I think everybody is pretty aware of this one, actually. The entire west coast of America is on fire.
We've got the same one, Isaac. You go for it.
Oh, well, maybe I can find it. There's no shortage of bad news.
Oh, no.
The entire west coast of America seems to be on fire, namely California, but now Oregon and Washington. And it's insane because it's turning the sky blood red. The refraction of the light from the fires and the smoke in the sky. So, you know, at like 4 p.m. in some town in Oregon, you're living in biblical times because the sky is just a red color.
Yeah. To give it some context, a friend of mine who lives there was saying that yesterday her fire alarm in her house went off. There's the smoke outside.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? And it was started allegedly by a gender reveal party.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Goodness. Oh my God.
But like, how did they reveal? By
In smoke. I think they were just like trying to make smoke clouds of it's a boy.
They
I
poured
don't know.
gasoline on the field in the shape of the word boy, and then they lit it on fire. This has been Good News, Bad News. I'm your host, Isaac, and bringing you the news are Davina
Goodbye.
and Jai.
So long.
See you next time for the news.